We have two tests. One is, are we a fit? And that's more on our website. But then we have another one like, okay, how to know if you're ready to hire a content agency. And in that second one, if they're ready to hire a content agency, we try to be frank and say, look, you're not really ready. These are the things you might want to fix before talking to a content. Maybe you should have this ready, this ready, this ready before you head over there, because otherwise it's really confusing.
You're about to hear a conversation between two agency owners who collectively have over 30 years of experience helping brands sell millions of dollars. Enjoy the episode.
Marketing emotion. So it's like you work with us, and in order for us to properly work with you, we're going to give you this free assessment that pretty much helps us position you to what services we can also do. And if you don't, and even if you decide not to go with us or do go with us, you at least gain the knowledge of going through this process for free and learning where you are positioned specifically within your business. Now you are taking this assessment and you're taking this knowledge with you, which is great, or you're taking this assessment and then we see that you have some things that we can really be good at and help you out with. You need them. Let's work together and let's make magic. That's the last thing that we were talking about, where I think it's the whole win-win to the customer.
Yeah. Well, it would be similar for a doctor, though, if you think about it, because let's say the doctor fixes breast implants, right, when they go wrong. Probably do a test, right? He could probably do a test.
We have to be more specific. It's not that he fixes breast implants when they go wrong. It's that some people's bodies do not cope well with the healing of the breast implant, causing these
pain.
Complications. Pain. Yeah. If they think it's pain or dystrophy.
Yeah. And so this doctor fixes that without needing an operation through like ultrasound waves or whatever it is, right? He could probably do a test as well. That's the other thing I was thinking is he could say, well, and we're using the term he because it actually is a doctor. He could actually say like, I'm going to put up a test that says like, if you have pain after you've had breast implants, take this test or whatever, and so people take the test and the test might ask them a bunch of questions like, which breast hurts, how long does it hurt for? I don't know. I have no idea. We'd have to ask the doctor, like, what are the things he might consider to determine whether or not that patient is a good fit for him or not. And, you can run Facebook ads on that. You can run a whole bunch of ads and go towards that.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. I like the concept. You do have to go through a circumspect of, does Facebook allow you to talk about, healthcare?
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, you may have to see if the ad can run properly the way you've imagined.
But yeah, I mean that could help you position. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people would take it. I thought a lot of women who are within that have that circumstance will take the test to understand whether or not like what it is they not diagnose people, but like maybe get them oriented as to what it might be without having to be a diagnosis, right? And then the people fill it out. You get their email address, you get their name, you get more information because they're filling out the test. You know a little bit more about their case, and then you can say, okay, well, now that I have this, how do I bring them in for an appointment? And then you can email them again saying, okay, we've noticed that you qualify for an appointment, because there might be people who answer the test for like, no, this is something else. It's not really what we do.
It's not my bum that hurts. It was always my foot.
Right. She should go see someone else, right? Like that person should see someone else. But the ones that do qualify, you can say, and the test is cool because in the test you can say like, you scored high, you scored low. If you scored low, we could say like, this isn't really for us. You need to consider seeing one of these specialists and like send them somewhere else. Yeah. But if they score high, you can say, okay, look, you scored high, which means you have a high probability of being able to get treated by us. Here's where you can make an appointment. You send them a link, people make an appointment. Obviously, like the insurance, I don't know if the insurance kicks in there because it's breast implants. I don't know how that works, but
No, I think it's no. I think this would have to be outside of in the United States. It would have to be outside of insurance.
right,
Portion.
right,
It has
private,
to be
right.
somebody that I like the concept of what you're saying. It's like, well, did you recently, this is just, this is a test to make sure that that you have safe breast implants. Let's say, do you feel, in the past, so and so, do you feel pain? How long have you felt pain? Blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, out of this, if you rank 10 points, you most likely have this. If you rank this low, you most likely don't have it. If you rank the right to 5, we recommend you contact a doctor or specialist.
Mm-hmm.
We happen to get a doctor specialist that we can help you with that, so that it's not so like,
Yeah.
oh, I was trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But I mean-
that could be a great exercise.
And you know what? At the end of the day, like even if the doctor is trying to sell his services, like that woman is in pain. She's looking for answers. Like, you know what I mean?
I think I also was thinking there could be that, well, it's not an enigma, but it's like that stick with this. If they, I don't know the word in English is that feeling that like don't want to. I don't want to overshare with people how I'm feeling, so that I feel I need to like kind of hide my feelings. Like maybe people do not bring it up to the light because they're not aware that this is a situation because people don't talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yes, we'd have to check, but I would, my guess would be women are more open than we think about that kind of stuff, and they like, yeah, look, this is hurting. And they're probably Googling that and trying to figure that out if it's hurting too much, or they're asking their friends. So I don't know. The other idea I had thought about, and obviously like this might work or might not work, but the doctor could also have like he could run a webinar where he talks about all of that. He can invite the people that took the test but haven't made an appointment. So if he builds that list, he can send them the link to the webinar and say, look, we're logging on tomorrow. We're going to talk about this, either pain management or whatever he wants to talk about. Like he can do that, or he could also say like, you know what, I'm doing a free consultation to someone. I'm not going to charge you for it. We're going to talk about their options, what they can do, etc. And I'm going to record it, and that's going to become part of like an episode of my show or whatever we call it. I'm going to record it, and that's going to go online. And obviously, like you're there, like, oh well. The first thought is, well, is he going to find a woman who's going to want to be on the show and say, my breast hurt because I had a breast implant? My guess is yes. He's going to find some people that are willing to do that. Others won't, but if he finds those extroverts, they'll do it. They'll for a free session or whatever it is, like they'll log on and they can have a session just like this.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you just have to sign, the consent for the HIPAA and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is true. Again, I don't know if the word stigma or enigma, pero it's not enigma. It's like, I think it's the whole fact of like, well, is this something that people do open? You're saying, yeah, probably this is a very open conversation, but I'm also thinking that, well, is there a lot of people who are going through this, or just a lot of people who are like saying like, I have some toothaches and I should be flossing every day, but you know what? I can live a whole bad year until I get to the end. Again.
Well, if the doctor does pain management in general, then he could probably do a bunch of these, right? Like talk about, pain in general, or different parts of the body. If he only is doing this breast thing and that's like his specialty, and like I'm certain if you looked online, if like you Googled it or asked the AIs, you could maybe come up with like, okay, how many women suffer from this after an operation? Then you can go to like how many women in Florida are getting operated.
The research pretty much says that this is a very high, there's a lot of this situation happening. People do report them, some people do not report them, but there's a lot of reporting, and yeah, the numbers do show that there is a space for the back end. Again, as you're saying, even if we just take this product out, we just focus on pain. I think that also it's like, okay, so do you have back pain? What type of back pain do you have? Do you have a back pain that I am uncomfortable back pain? Maybe was it like somebody who does chiropractic can help you out with it, or do you really are in a pain that you can't function? If this is the type of pain that you have, I can treat you because I am pain management, and we can go through that. Boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I was thinking is, like, he can run a bunch of these tests for the different things he offers, and I think that when people see the test, they'll be identified with it. Like, if I see a test that says back pain or whatever, and I suffer from that, then wow, like, maybe I should take this test. It's a 5-minute test. It's free. It's going to tell me what kind of doctor to see, or it's going to tell me, like, I don't know, like, what, not that, maybe not a diagnosis, but sort of maybe point me in the right direction. I would definitely take the test.
Yeah, and correct. I mean, as we commented in the last episode, they are a lot. They are, at least in my feed, because that's the way that we had to talk about it. At least in my Instagram feed, I do get a lot of, are you a 40-year-old man? Do you need to work out? What type of body are you? Are you a bear? Are you a tiger? Are you a koala bear? And then you have to like do these tests, and then it's like, yeah, you're gonna stop eating candy and then really get into shape with insert app here.
Yeah.
For this price, people like you have toward this, and I'm not saying that the apps are just. I mean, I imagine there's some apps that are poop. I'm saying like if this was talk about these legit apps, if you maintain it and you do the work and all that stuff, it's that thing that like, are we lumping, real, I don't want to say real doctor, but like,
Yeah.
you get me? Like, this is more like, yeah.
But like, I think it really depends on the way the test looks in terms of design, and also the questions being asked, because so it's not tacky. It's not like, what kind of bear?
Not cheesy.
Yeah. What superhero are you? It's like, no, this is a professional test. You're going to take it, and you're going to answer some questions, and we'll point you in the right direction. And then there's like, you can send people a link to get the appointment, or you can nurture them with additional content. But it seems to me like the doctor we're talking about specifically does not necessarily want to be, a huge public figure and be online and put the camera in front of him and talk to people. That's not really his personality. So it feels like if he does these tests, it's a way to, like, he's not there. He's just putting the test out and getting a bunch of leads coming in. And then the leads can, they can fill out the form, and then they can sign up for an appointment if they want. That's one thing. And then the other is the idea of doing a sort of a live session of a doctor's appointment consultation. He might feel more comfortable doing that because he does it every day, and it's just online, and it's being recorded. It sounds funny, but that's like a different part of the brain, I think. And I say that because I'm similar. Like, I'm more comfortable talking to you about this right now and having a conversation than if you placed the camera in front of me and said, okay, green light, go. Like, I wouldn't know what to say, right? Like, but this is a conversation, and I've had I have a lot of conversations, so this is easier for me. For that doctor, it's like, okay, we're not going to put you on the spot. You're just going to have a normal session with the patient. We'll record it, and then we can edit it if you screw up, or if you don't want to say something, we can edit that out, etc. And then use that as a way to also be better known and get out there, right? So
I like it. I mean, there are some asterisks. I mean, the HIPAA compliance thing. Yeah, again, if somebody gives you consent on that, but it could also just be an interview to an interviewer. Like, it could be, somebody to him and say, look, what it is that you're doing right now, and why it is that happens. And then he explains. I mean, he goes into like really detailed options about like, well, this is a unique procedure that I have seen work, and that works out, and it works because the science and all that stuff that it is. He's huge into research, so he comes up with a lot of ways of treating things.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't have to necessarily be a patient. It could be someone who interviews him and tells him, like, okay, tell me about this. What about this? If I had this, what would you recommend? Et cetera, et cetera. Like you can come up with like nice questions to ask as well. And I was also thinking like that this doctor could also, if he doesn't want to show up at all, like he'd run the tests, you send out the links, people, show up at his office and get, get treated. And then you can film those people. I mean, maybe some of them are willing to say, I'll give a testimony. I'll talk about how well it went,
Yeah, so that's a great idea. I don't think that the personality of this doctor would fit on that, as I mentioned before. He prefers to. I think the knowing how he is, he would prefer not to bring these people up to the spotlight, and he doesn't like to depend on people for things like that. So, but yeah, I also went ahead and said, well, testimonials, especially because I mean he's been doing this for 20-something years. Actually this year he's turning 20 doing private practice in this type of pain doctor, and he has clients that are like, look, I come all the way from Boca because you have, somebody told me that you have pretty much gotten to a point that they can walk now. So yeah, there is good word of mouth. He's a great guy, but I don't know. I like the concept. We just need to investigate, because again, it would be creating the questionnaire and just putting it as a Facebook or Instagram ad or whatever it is, the social. Let's try it out.
Yeah, we can talk about it later. How to do it and how to organize that. But I think that's going to work. I'm sure. I'm sure. People are going to be online. They're going to take the test. If they feel the pain, then it's going to just be a huge source of leads for him. And then it's a matter of nurturing that lead with content or sending them the link to get an appointment or both. And then just have, working that database, right? Where new people start coming in, a percentage of those will set up an appointment, which means, he has more clients. And then the rest that don't set up an appointment keep getting nurtured, keep getting new things, content. That's why I like the idea of him, either being in an interview or being on a consultation, or or figuring out ways to keep nurturing that database. It doesn't have to be him. It could also be like, we're going to write content, right? We're going to write small articles or things where maybe doubts that people have or frequently asked questions. And then for each question, we're going to write an article, and then that gets sent out. Every 15 days, you're sending that out to that database of people that haven't made an appointment yet. You're saying, this is one of the questions we always get. Here's the answer. And the doctor's not really showing up, right? I mean, he doesn't have to record, do anything. Like the agency's really in charge, right, of sending that.
No.
If he doesn't want to show up.
No. I mean, yeah, that's what you do. I mean, and again, it's a matter of nurture them the proper content, because even if they do or not, especially in the world of medicine, these people are doing it for the right reasons. It's just like, look, I'm just going to give you as much information as I know. Feel free to take it and do us with.
Yeah.
At the end, so then it is back to doing that. It's about priming clients to pretty much, or people to pretty much think of like, I really should consider the services because of X, Y, and Z.
Well, I think it's partly it's awareness. I also think like it's a win-win situation for everyone. If I'm in pain and I'm suffering from that, and I went to the doctor who did the breast implants and he hasn't fixed anything or she hasn't fixed it, and now I'm like, what do I do with this? I Google it. I'm trying to find answers, right? Like they're looking for answers. Like I don't know, they end up taking some protein shake they found because it has this and they think that's going to cure it. So they're trying to deal with this. So I see it as a win-win. I don't see it as a tacky marketing strategy. I see it as like, this is a way to get noticed, online without having to show your face, by adding value, not just, you know,
There is one thing that it's I mean, with social you can actually just lump a lot of people together and put it there. You can also say, well, I'm looking for specifically because this is this type of, let's say it's breast implant on women at the age of so and so. You can probably like, demographically kind of clean some of that list. But a lot of people are going to be getting that thing. They're going to be like, well, why should I?
well, they won't click on it, right? If they get it and they don't click on it, then nothing happens.
Sure.
You don't pay Facebook and you don't, you know what I mean? Like nothing happens. It's interesting. I actually also like the idea, and this is more the marketer. I don't think the doctor is going to be really necessarily aware of this, but the idea that you're also getting an email back and their name and more information about that patient or that person also means that you don't have to depend on social media and having to pay ads the rest of your life. Because if you are able to grab enough people and build a big enough database where
No,
people
or just awareness. I mean, it is a very unique thing. So even if it's just within the market that he owns, just the awareness that like, hey, there is this option out there. Like just getting to that point and the people to even know the benefits of it.
yeah. And I think it's but what I was getting at though is there will come a time where, I mean, if it's working, you keep it reinvesting, and if your customer acquisition cost is low enough, like you can keep doing this. But I also like the idea that you're building a personal database with email addresses and names and location and questions answered, etc., of people that could be potential clients later on. You're able to email them. You're able to call them if you want, because you might also have the phone number and text them. You're able to do things where you're the one who has the information, not Facebook, not Twitter, whoever it is, right? Like it's nobody. You don't have to pay them forever, right? You're actually using those platforms.
Well, you're creating your own database. Yeah, no, you're right. It's tough because right now, again, there are some compliance things that I am not like. I can't speak on. I know HIPAA, but I only stay within the range of the things that I can do. And there's some compliance things that I need there, but even as you say, just being able to understand that this was a community of people that were interested in X, and I don't have to depend on. I don't have to depend on the rules or regulations of the third party to get this information done, or paying them to get this information done. It's the best. It's the best way to go about it. And I think this is just not just for the document for everything.
See, I get rid of compliance. You're right. You have to check and see. My guess is like you just have to put a disclaimer. You have to put like all the different things that can make it work, right? Where you're not diagnosing a patient, where you're not like, all these different things you need to sort of take care of. But I think that could be an interesting experiment to run.
Yeah, I also think that it could be, it doesn't really have to be like too expensive to probably just get you going with that, or at least just do the test. This is how much investment. Get to know your people. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
So are you now working on something along those lines with your AI team and stuff like that, or with the agency?
yeah. So yeah, we're doing some of that. We're getting leads for ourselves. That's how we sort of test things at first. And that's something we're looking to do for clients probably later this year. So maybe Q2, we'll probably be doing a little bit of that for clients. We just see it works because it's still content, it's still added value content. Like you're still doing that, and you're still getting, you're still giving people information, something relevant that they can use later.
And as you said before, it's figuring out if you're fishing in the right lake.
Yeah.
That this tells you like, look, you took this, you learned something. We're not the best a fit for you, but at least you learn something. So, you know.
Yeah. And there's plenty of people that fill out the test and they're like, we're not really a fit. And we'll say it. We'll be like, oh, well, we have two tests. One is, are we a fit? And that's more on our website. But then we have another one like, okay, how to know if you're ready to hire a content agency. In that second one, if they're ready to hire a content agency, like we try to be frank and say, look, you're not really ready. These are the things you might want to fix before talking to a content agency. Maybe you should have this ready, this ready, this ready before you head over there, because otherwise it's really confusing. You won't know who to hire, etc. We try to be.
Do you have the money to pay for a content agency?
Right. Part of it, right?
Yeah, no, it's like, do you believe social media is something that you should take care of? I give it to my niece who's she's doing TikTok all day. You can actually like set up what you want your level. So
yeah. And so I think it's what's interesting about the whole thing also is you're also learning about the client. So by the time you have that first meeting with the client, like they've answered, maybe 8 to 10 questions. So like, oh, this is what's hurting. This is, sort of what they want to achieve. This is the budget, kind of, I guess. It's a range. Sometimes they lie about that, but you have an idea of like where things are headed and what the conversation is probably going to look like. And then so you have more info as well. You have more intel where you're going to go sell. You can help them more. You can say, look, this is what I saw. Is this correct? Like, and then you can have it's a more intelligent conversation. It's not like, okay, so who are you and what do you want? It's more like, oh, I saw your website. I've seen this. I saw your questions. It's a different conversation.
Yeah. You can always lead with like, so what do you think? And then they can tell you like after the test what did they rank and so on and so forth. Okay.
Yeah. And no, it works. It definitely works. And I think for doctors, it's especially that kind of doctor, I think would really work. I think for most, but specifically for pain management, I think it's, if you can run it, right? Like, putting aside the whole compliance thing, you need to sort of review that. But if you can run them, I think it's all run, to be honest. Anyway, I think that's it. That's the show.
That's the show. That's awesome.